you guys. I am back again with another video, and this time I have a little bit more to talk about rather than arbitrarily ranting and coming across something insightful. But I don't have anything particularly deep to discuss, but maybe just a little bit of a rundown of these past few weeks and what I've done, what really caught my interest, or what I found like interesting to talk about here. So I want to start with a movie that I watched. I went alone recently, and I like doing that every now and then, just kind of going to a movie by myself and having a ball. So I watched Project Optomo Inhabitant, which was fantastic. I saw a review on TikTok, and it compared it to Interstellar. And then I went to go check IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. Actually, I lie. I don't check Rotten Tomatoes. I think Rotten Tomatoes is too forgiving and too friendly, whereas I feel like IMDb is where it's at in terms of accuracy. But I've also noticed this paradigm shift in the world, in the realm of film critique, where it has become a little bit more lenient, but maybe because the expectation is different now with film and not TV. Forget TV. I don't know how I'd begin to critique, because the format is different and not as familiar. I'll write pilots, and I do enjoy it, and I just worked on one recently, but I'm more familiar with the format and the screenwriting of features of movies. So that being said, I prefer IMDb because it's a little bit more critical and a little bit more honest. Now it isn't as of recent, and by recent I mean like the last 7 years or so. I think it's because movies have now become far more. There was a good word. Excuse me. There was a good word my cousin used a while ago. But it's, I just normally say it's a little bit more experimental. The theory, the concept behind movies are like, it's just, I think in trailers they look amazing, but when you're watching it, it's a bunch of grass, So, anyway, I had a wonderful time watching Project Hail Mary. Amazing. And this is gonna sound like some bullshit, vague term, but the script was very tight, and what I mean by that is it met all the plot points that are expected from beginning, middle, and end, and even some of his internal narrative that we see through flashbacks are woven into the dynamic he has with him and the supporting character Rocky. I thought that was really good, like with the dialogue, with the subtlety, with the arc. It was really good, and it brought tears to my eyes, and I certainly laughed. And I was gonna say that I don't think it's weird going to the movies alone. Some people will give me like a unique reaction of like, oh, that's. I think it's even weirder that I have been to the theme parks alone, but whatever. Anyway, I think it's weird. I do think it's weird, but I did it anyway. I laughed a lot alone. I think that's a little funky, but otherwise I don't know. It's okay. But yeah, no, I had a fantastic time, and it was kind of in a weird way like revitalizing for me. I think sometimes you get so caught up in the work and the technicality of writing that, and I'm only honestly speaking to filmmakers, I guess, right now, but you get so caught up in the goal and the time frame that you have for yourself that you forget the reason why we do it anyway, and to go visit the theaters and watch something that is truly moving is honestly a refreshing reminder, So yeah, great time, fantastic. If you haven't seen it, go see it. And it's funny, I think Ryan Gosling had said that, we demand people to go to the theaters, and I, as a filmmaker, I would have to make that case too, because movies live in theaters, truly. But that being said, he also made a very good counterpoint that, instead of demanding people to go to the theaters, make movies that people want to see in theaters. And that goes back to my point where I feel like a lot of it is, I said this loose term grasp, but what I mean by that is it's a lot of movies can be kind of hollow and uneventful, but super experimental and super weird. It's shock value. Oh my god, that's what my cousin said. It's for shock value. And I don't want to throw names out right now for movies, but that I don't like. Whatever. Anyway, also, let me just add real quick, I fucking love Roger Ebert. I have, oh, rest in peace, and Gene Siskel, rest in peace. But when I was a kid, I used to just read all of his reviews and watch their old shows or reruns of it. And it's funny, before my dad even had me, met my mom, when he was in med school, he would watch Siskel and Ebert, not knowing that one day his daughter would be a screenwriter. So I just think that's really cute. But yeah, anyway, I do watch, or I'll read up on Roger Ebert's stuff, and he has a 4-star system. And I've noted, like, for him, at least from what I remember, like, the pattern of his critique would heavily rely on this, like, completed internal narrative, like there has to be a soul in the story. Because there's some movies I watch where I felt like, oh, technically I think it could drop a point or so, but for him it might just be a 4-star because there was so much soul. And by soul I mean like great character development, great depiction of the arc, that sort of stuff. I mean, there's a movie I'm thinking of in particular, but whatever. I have a rubric for how I critique movies. It's on a Google Docs. I know I don't have a letterbox. I should make one, but whatever, in due time. And I like to keep my critique private because sometimes I feel as though I can be a little too aggressive, and I think that comes with just being a screenwriter or being a filmmaker. We all have our heads up our asses and like really intense with our opinions and stuff, and the I'm right, you're wrong type of mentality. And not to say I'm always like that, but really I truly have faith in some of my perspectives in terms of just like the entertainment value of a movie. And that's what it really all comes down to, right? Like regardless of whether this comes the inciting incident comes later, or like the there is no real subplot or whatever, like so long as it's entertaining, that's what matters, right? And entertainment can be characterized by different traits in a movie. I'm trying to figure out what my point is that I want to make, but come on, what is it? What does I want to say? Well, anyway, entertainment. I try to look at it from like, and who am I to say, right? I'm still young. I'm still in the early stages of my career, but I truly think entertainment value represents the business end of things, and what really like makes a movie work, makes a script work. And that's where sometimes for me can get technical. I guess the next video, maybe I should talk about a movie and review it, and one that I don't like. I'm always hesitant because I'm like, man, should I just have a fucking smear campaign of a movie on here in public? But and that's why I keep my like reviews to myself. But really, I started reviewing movies way before Letterboxd was introduced, and it was when I was in high school, like around, I want to say like 15 or 16. The first movie I ever reviewed was Twilight, and I did like a character analysis, but I was 8, and then, or 9, or shit, I don't know, but like in elementary school. But the first real movie I ever reviewed, I want to say, was Fight Club. Yeah, I think, and it was on paper. And then Gatsby, and then so on and so forth. But in the Google Docs, the first movie I have on there is Room by Lenny Abrahamson with Rooney Mara, I think. So that was the first one. Anyway, I will go over that rubric at least. I think that's really important. And for me, I think when something is introduced, there needs to be some point to it. I don't like arbitrary experimental content that has no relevance to either the theme, the character arc, the character itself, or what is going on, the main conflict, right? It just has to serve a point. And I've noticed that in a lot of movies, because there's this element of shock value to get people in seats. There's no real emphasis on creating a story, something full circle. So that's my gripe. But anyway, yeah, Project Hail Mary, fantastic, had a great time. And I think that's pretty much my video for today. I have to go change because I'm running late. For dinner with a friend. Right now I'm in my pajamas. I have my Simpson pajamas on. And I have my Godfather shirt. I don't know if that was a good accent or whatever. Oh my god, I'm getting a really important call. I will.